Disney's war against reality continues. The good news is they're losing. Next to fall for them is Peter Pan and Wendy plus The Little Mermaid, two animated classics that have been remade into live-action lobotomies for the spare. Naturally, audience roasted the trailers, and Disney reacted by branding all rejection as racism. But the truth is that the studio started having problems not when they gaslighted fans with false bigotry charges, but when they started using nostalgia as a broken ATM while messing with people's memories. Because when woke ideology supplants creativity, the story dies and drives away the fans. What's going on, everybody? I hope all of you had a phenomenal week, my friends. Hollywood is a mess right now. Take Disney. They just logged in another loser on the ledger. We have Willow. It was just canceled. No season 2. But we knew that because from the very first moment that the studio bastardized the canon and then lifted whole scenes out of old movies, it was done.
Sweet Mary's ass, how the hell did you get him to do that, huh? What's that mean anyway? I'd say.
How'd you get him to... I've never seen horses do that. What does Sugala mean?
It's an ancient Navajo word. It means stop.
It's an ancient Angorian word. It means stop.
On top of that, you have the latest Ant-Man film. It just tanked the entire MCU. Because when identity politics are your only primary ingredients in a film, then talent and storytelling go missing on a milk carton somewhere in middle America. And then people keep their money in their wallets. But did the Mouse House learn anything? Nope, they just stubbornly repeated the recipe and then dragged out their latest shill for their newest film.
I think he updates it in such a natural way, in a way that feels like it adds to the canon of Peter Pan, and also subtly corrects kind of the stereotypes that are unfortunately passed along through those fairy tales, correcting the indigenous representation that was mistaken in the animated and in some of the past versions.
I loathe liars. That's why I like calling them out, especially future OnlyFans candidates who don't have any talent skills except to peddle their propaganda.
Los Boys.
Every last one of us.
But you're not all boys. So?
Every last one of us.
Disney actually had the audacity to hire rejects who didn't even read the book. Then they upped the ante by corrupting the canon and filling in the ranks of the Lost Boys with girls. But where do you live mostly now? We're the Lost Boys. Who are they? They are the children who fall out of their perambulators when the nurse is looking the other way. If they're not claimed in 7 days, they're sent far away to Neverland to defray expenses. Oh, what fun it must be. Yes, said Cunning Peter. But we are rather lonely. You see, we have no female companionship. And none of the others girls? Oh no. Girls, you know, are much too clever to fall out of their prams. Disney's false moralizing to elevate the women at the cost of the boys only made them look dumb. The exact opposite of what the studio intended, and definitely didn't make them look clever. Thus, that one simple example in the trailer, contrasted against the canon and the animated classic, proves that any radical ideology immediately leads to the loss of individuality and imagination, which gives rise to institutional laziness inside the studio system. And that is the death knell to creativity and a guarantee of box office poison.
Once again, the idea of knowing that there was no sacrifice in story made in order to update and make a more reflective piece.
Now, the bottom line is the only films being produced today are for the short bus crowd and the Tinseltown woke or tartary. So what do you have? You had author J.M. Barrie already had elevated women on a pedestal. He wove them into the very fabric of the story as key players.
I'm certainly proud of you, you blockheads. I bring your mother to tell you stories.
Mother?
Nostalgia is a bridge to the past. Whatever we watched or read a long time ago, it's how we create an emotional, sentimental connection to it. And Hollywood wants to tap right into that and turn it into a cash cow. So I'm like, if you want to do that, then honor the canon and faithfully adapt the material. At least make it better, but definitely don't sling mud at people's memories. You want to create something, make it better, make it new, so it can sit on a space on the shelf in your mental library right next to everything else you fondly remember. Otherwise, all these bully pulpit productions, the only thing they deserve is backlash.
But these people are virtue signaling. They're trying to bring people down to raise their own status. And they say it's because, no, we're protecting minorities.
And all these people that Disney bellyaches about, calling them bad, where are they? Because every time I look around at some of these trailers, all I see are positive reaction numbers, except for the ones that are bad. Take Moana, for example. You got 168,000 likes versus 10,000 dislikes. Or Encanto even, 301,000 likes versus 8,500 dislikes. We can go on. Raya the Last Dragon and Mulan, it's the same story over and over. Whether some of these were box office champs or financial flops, all of them had non-white leads with a non-Western canon story. So what's the answer then when you compare that to Peter Pan and Wendy? It had about 45,000 likes and 418,000 dislikes. So what happened? Did all the ists and phobes take the day off for the other trailers and then come out in force for this farce? See, this isn't about racism. This is a reality check, calling down the mouse house's lies. So let's flip the script for a moment. Let's play their game. Why don't we gender swap, Nancy Drew to Nathaniel Drew? What do you think? They'd blow their stack? Or how about we take the Woman King that everybody lionized in Hollywood from Deadline to the Vanity Fair? And we actually tell the truth about the story, not the legend that they're trying to build out of all these heroes. It was a tribe of warriors and slavers who oppressed the African people. What if we took Black Panther and gave him a biracial parent so he came out born lily white? I guarantee you the boycotts would be 24/7 on every major news network. All audiences want simple authenticity, honesty, because you cannot sell art based on a lie. The studio simply had to tell the real story about Peter Pan. But Disney decided to consume all the complex emotions and fun right into an identity politics too. They took the Lost Boys, spiced them in with some girls, even though in the book the boys had never seen a girl in their life. Then you have a 90-pound Wendy turned into a swashbuckler who's taking 2 sailors on at a time with their sword. Then to round out the entire cast, we race swap everybody until we have forced diversity hires of Tiger Lily. Then you have Tinkerbell and tech support Peter Pan. And they're wondering why it's all falling flat and everyone's racing it to hell and back because it reeks of lies. It's simple.
Lost Boys.
Every last one of us. But you're not all boys. So?
One would have thought after the global success of Top Gun Maverick, nearly raking in $1.5 billion, becoming the #1 film of 2022, that Disney would have learned a lesson. They'd have taken a pause and said, wait a minute. Every film Tom Cruise does is a success. One is bigger than the other because he sticks to the simple original recipe of making fun entertainment movies for everyone.
Show me the money!
But did the mouse learn? Nope. They just reached their greedy hand back into the cupboard of history, pulled through the cobwebs and pulled out a legendary IP, robbed Peter to pay Paul, and slapped together the Little Mermaid.
The rules. You went to the above world.
A man was drowning. I had to save him.
And just like Peter Pan and Wendy, the Little Mermaid's trailer was spit roasted alive. 197,000 likes versus 1.1 million dislikes and rising. How do you account for that? Because when you tie that together with an undercooked CGI and then with overproduced music and bad vocals and a story that has all the magic missing from it, it looks like a cookie cutter production that's been done by a chop shop serving up a twisted version of Hans Christian Andersen's 300-year-old Danish tale. It's not what anyone wants. Disney's live-action The Little Mermaid star Halle Bailey dismisses backlash against the film as purely racist. As a black person, you just expect it. Miss Bailey, she's missing the forest for the trees. She's not understanding what the studio's real underlying message is. See, when I hear Disney talking about representation and quotas over story and quality, I hear a company who's talking about, I'm championing minority groups who have my political interests at heart. And what they've actually proved with their actions, it's the exact opposite. They do more harm than good by dividing and polarizing them, and they don't create any stories that draw people in. People don't understand that when you're black, there's this whole other community. It's so important for us to see ourselves. If that's the case, then you lied to variety, or you lied to yourself, or you lied to both.
Little Mermaid live action or the original?
Oh my gosh, this is a really, really hard one because the animated version has always been so special to me since I was so small. I mean, it's the reason I would swim. I would be in the pool feeling like I am the animated version of her.
There, in her own words, she said it. She had almost a profound connection to the Little Mermaid. So that means the movie and the magic in it worked. It drew her in. She didn't have to see herself. She understood it. She loved it. So that means no changes are necessary. And if she says otherwise, that means we're circling right back to the lie. What Miss Bailey needs to do is ask the real questions of the studio. How come the Mouse House isn't creating new vehicles for the minority groups they champion, instead of dusting off legendary IPs that have a history in people's hearts and then jamming them through with woke ideology that the red carpet cabal loves? Because the answer is that Hollywood, if they were saying that they were going to feed the world's starving population, the only thing they do is give them the scraps off their table and call it a 7-course meal. When you think about it that way, who are the true Islamophobes in this picture?
I think that some of the subjects that have proven to be controversial as it relates to Disney have been branded political, and I don't necessarily believe they are.
At the end of the day, The Little Mermaid is nothing but a camouflage con job. Disney is in a race against the clock. Therefore, they take every chance with a movie to turn it into a cinematic recruitment drive. They want to replace all the established fans that built the original Magic Kingdom with a hashtag hobo generation in their blank stares before they go financially belly up. We have to look at what stories we are mining. Disney CEO Bob Iger hints trimming down $51.8 billion Star Wars and $40.8 billion MCU franchise movies to focus on quality. What's the boss really saying? He's covering his butt because he destroyed the almost indestructible Star Wars brand. And then we have to deal with the juggernaut, the former money machine for Disney, the MCU. Both of these franchises are on life support and hospice care. So don't listen to them when they come out later and say, oh, this is all the streaming wars' fault. This is all Netflix's fault, Paramount's fault. Not at all. There's not too much content out there. There's too much bad content out there. There's too much woke content. And woke is just another word the few use to control the many. And people are done being controlled. So we're going to sit back, we're going to watch how these studios evolve or go extinct, and we're going to keep reminding them that we never bow down, we never bend the knee, always forward.